Hey guys, since everybody loved our last video about the argument between Six Sams and Dark Worlds, we decided that we are now going to continue making Rant On videos. We'll just pick a deck or a subject
and we'll debate it. Today,
we're talking about Exodia.
Well, that one's Senior Exodia.
Senor Exodia.
Senor. Now, you know, Exodia decks are one of, like, you know, when everybody, I guess not everybody, well, with the original people, when you first watched Yu-Gi-Oh, that's the first thing Yugi did to win, which was like the ultimate troll move, and he's never used Exodia again.
I would probably say out of any deck out there that trolls, you know, the opponent, you know, shit like Final Countdown and Burn decks is nothing compared to Exodia decks. Because, you know, at least Burn and Final Countdown is just like the clock. Final Countdown, it's like the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
And Burn is just like slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But Exodia is just like, I'm going to draw everything. You just sit down and endure this.
Like, it's like, alright, let's start to do it. I go first? Cool. Alright, man, just sit down. Draw. I win. You didn't even get to go yet. But I win. It's over.
Well, that's the FTK way, but there are other ways of Exodia that pretty much, you know, it's just like, yeah, I'll give you a turn. Draw green. There are not...
Reckless greed.
Reckless greed. Like I see if you got a cursor.
Drawing all my cards.
I could see, because it's funny, because I was thinking about testing out spirits. Oh, you have a spirit monster on your field. Now draw two cards. Like, I'm not trying to say Exodia's bad. To be honest, nobody loves Exodia more than me. I just hate the deck's play style. I hate decks that literally, I think out of all Yu-Gi-Oh, there are maybe 3 big troll decks out there. If I'm wrong and there's more, I'm sorry, but I think that the biggest 3 are Final Countdown, Burn, and Exodia. To be honest, I think it's kind of fair that everybody in Yu-Gi-Oh! Can decide on one troll deck for themselves. Yeah. One fun troll deck, but that's it.
Yeah, everybody will take one out of the 3 and be like, oh, I'll use this one.
Like, yeah, if you could pick out of between Exodia, Burn, and Final Countdown, what would you? Mine, you know, is Burn. I always like Burn.
Well, you know me, I kind of like, I like Exodia, so I have, like, you know, but I have that Burn / Exodia deck.
I don't know how you could run an Exodia / Burn deck.
Because while I'm burning and stalling, I'm drawing at the same time.
I think that is just
stupid.
I think it is stupid. I feel like either run Burn and use it to the extreme and take out the cards like Exodia just to make sure and put the extra Burn in there to beat your opponent, or throw in the draw cards to help Exodia out.
I like a thing, it's called originality, and I like to mix things up.
Yeah,
I mix decks like drinks, bitch. One thing about Exodia that you would think that would change it was all these different variations of Exodia that they started releasing. You know, you had the Exode, that 4,000 in defense 100 monster. You got Exodia's Necros, Exodiosis.
Yeah, but the difference is, I don't really want to bash Exodia, but all those 3 forms of Exodia suck.
You know what? I wanted to try to do this. I hope there is a way. I want to make like a competitive like Exodia deck where it involves all the type of Exodias. Because
I tried that because before I started collecting Exodia pieces, I kind of said my baby brother's gonna be born soon. I want him to have what I didn't. I want him to have Exodia. I didn't even have an Exodia at that time, so I wanted to get an Exodia specifically for him when he would start playing. Because I always wanted. I have a funny feeling that he might play Exodia. I know that seems, you know, odd.
If Yu-Gi-Oh! Even exists by the time he's like 20 years old, you know, that's the youngest legal age to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though it says like 6 and up, you know you really gotta be like 18.
That's not true.
I've never seen anybody under the age of 14 playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
I've seen it.
I've seen them have cards, I've never seen them play.
I've seen them play and have cards.
Where? You don't leave your house. You're alive.
The reason why I find Exodia decks completely boring is because I feel like they have nothing outside the lines of drawing. I like an Exodia deck more like this. You know, there was one called Emissary or something where it's just like both players could add a normal...
Oh, yeah, Emissary Darkness.
Yeah, I like... If I would build an Exodia deck, it would be shit like that. Sand can. It would be all things like it will put the shit in my hand.
While you're trying to fight back.
Yeah. I don't want it to be like, oh, draw. Because, you know, I went to the shit. You have to understand, take into consideration, your opponent is just like...
You have to sit there and wait. Yeah. And just be like,
really, dude? I could literally, when an Exodia player is playing all their shit, if it wouldn't be for shit like Upstart Goblin and hand destruction, and all cards like that, this makes your opponent get something, even though it doesn't fucking matter. If it was just like, I do this, I would literally get up, walk into the kitchen, start relaxing. Tell me when you're finished.
Honestly, I feel like with Exodia decks, if you're using it, if you're maining an Exodia deck in like real life, and it's like not like an Exodia where it's like original that you put hard work into and you have like all this different mix and combinations in there. I mean like that super gay, like I'm just gonna draw, not even give your opponent a chance to speak.
Gay is a bad word, Mr. Evan.
Fuck. Yeah, you see this, support. I don't know.
We gay people don't say that.
Whatever. But my point is, if you're using like one of those type of Exodia decks that's just like, he doesn't even give your opponent a chance to even have an opinion in the duel, then don't play. And especially if you're going to use it on the end, just don't play. Just don't, because you're wasting the other person's time.
You know what's funny? Because a lot of people...
Don't use it on rated, especially.
You know what's funny? Because a lot of people were saying to me, just like, when they're like, you know what needs to get banned in a Dark Horse? Card destruction. No, we need that we need that to fuck Exodia.
One way how I use, personally, to fuck up an Exodia deck, because sometimes they give you that one turn, just that one turn, and most...
Constella, putting it together, Constella.
No, they give you that one turn to like try to win or counteract whatever it is they have. One thing that I love to do is if most Exodia players, they normally they use cards like what's that we send two to the graveyard and then draw two?
Hand destruction.
They'll normally send an Exodia piece to the graveyard to only use monster reincarnation the next turn and bring it right on back. But if you put that Exodia piece in the graveyard, I'm monster reborn in that shit.
DD Crow.
Oh, DD Crow. And once they put that piece in the graveyard, they fuck themselves over. Those are cards that I know.
Well, not every Exodia player is that.
Most ones I go to do that.
Well, not all of them dump. Only the ones that play that mass Dark Factory of mass production.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I mean, I understand that, but.
What are cards like ways to like counteract Exodia? Things you do to like piss off an Exodia player? Or you've never
I've
never beat one.
I never beat one. That's why I collect Exodia heads. I'll play Exodia.
Hammer to the head.
My Exodia head. You didn't obliterate me, bitch. But you know what I would do? Most of the one Exodia deck these are probably the three most common that I ever go up against. One is I'm going to stop any form of attack. The ones with like Battle Fader, the Scarecrow, and any form of I'm just gonna keep fucking with the battle phase until draw. The other one there's that one. Then the other one is the Spellcaster way. I play Royal Magical Library. That one I immediately go Solemn Warning. I don't even bother wasting my time. Solemn Warning. You are not gonna start with that.
Nah.
Exodia.
No.
Exodia. The next is. Yeah, then there's the Dragon one, where it's just like Blue Eyes White Dragon with White Stone of Legend, Cards of Continents, and Trade-in,
and blah. And then the other one where it's like you discarded light, tuning monster, and blah, blah, blah. And all that other crap of those decks. But the best thing about it is beating an Exodia player. When you beat somebody who has Exodia, don't you get like the biggest sense of pride? Because you went up against somebody who was purposely trying to fuck you over and fuck you up, and then you win anyway, and then they're just like, and then you win, you just get that fucking, yeah, man, I'm the best in the world, and then, they're just kind of there like, no, Exodia! And personally, if you beat an Exodia player like this fucking guy...
You're ruining my binder!
You're hurting the collector's value! Exodia!
I love how I literally am trying to get an Exodia from every thing. Like, I have the Japanese PG head, the Dark Duel Stories, I have a European, I have a Spanish, I have the...
No, wait, a Spanish Exodia? You mean Senor Exodia?
Yeah,
where,
sure.
Normally Exodias, they obliterate. This one, Senor Exodios, he obliteratos.
I have a DLG1. Ole. Then I have the UB... I want to get the UBP1 Exodia head. I never got that one yet. I have the LOB, Master Collection.
Sounds like he's talking about a bunch of sexual diseases.
I have STD, Exodia.
I've got the STD one. I've got the venereal one. I've got gonorrhea. Exodia.
I have dark beginners.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh God, you got dark beginners too.
Oh, you got dark beginners. Oh man, you better go to the doctor to get that shit checked out. Oh damn.
I want to get it like literally every Exodia in existence.
Then there'll be no more Exodia players.